Have you ever sat down for lunch with coworkers or new acquaintances and felt that awkward silence? You want to say something, anything, but your mind just goes blank. We've all been there. That moment when you're just staring at your salad, wishing you knew how to start a friendly chat. Well, today we're going to fix that. We're diving into the art of lunch break small talk, giving you the essential phrases and simple tips you need to connect with anyone, anywhere. By the end of this video, you'll feel way more confident turning that quiet lunch into a great conversation. So grab your sandwich and let's get started. First things first, let's talk about icebreakers. The easiest way to start a conversation is to talk about the one thing you definitely have in common at that moment. The food. It's right there in front of you, so it's a natural and safe topic. You could say something like, "Wow, that looks delicious. What did you get?" Or, if you brought your own lunch, you could say, "I tried a new recipe today. Hopefully, it turned out okay." This immediately opens the door for the other person to talk about their meal, where they got it, or what they enjoy eating. Another great phrase is, "Any good lunch spots around here you'd recommend?" This is perfect because it shows you value their opinion and it can lead to a longer conversation about local restaurants, different types of cuisine, and personal favorites. It's simple, it's friendly, and it works every time. Once you've broken the ice with food talk, you can gently steer the conversation toward more general, work-related topics. The key here is to keep it light and positive. A fantastic go-to sentence is, "How has your day been so far?" It's a classic for a reason. It's polite, open-ended, and invites the other person to share as much or as little as they want. If you know they were working on a specific project, you could follow up with, "How's that big project coming along?" This shows you're paying attention to what's happening at work and are interested in their experience. But remember, lunch is a break, so avoid getting into heavy details or complaining about work. The goal is to connect on a human level, not to have another meeting. Another great way to build rapport is to talk about plans for the weekend or recent activities. This helps you get to know the person beyond their work role. You can ask, "Got any exciting plans for the weekend? Or did you do anything fun last weekend?" People usually enjoy talking about their hobbies, family, or upcoming trips. This is where you can find common interests. Maybe you both love hiking, or you're fans of the same TV show. These little connections are the building blocks of a good work friendship. And if they ask you the same question, have a brief, interesting answer ready. You don't need to have climbed a mountain. Even just mentioning a new coffee shop you tried or a good book you're rereading can spark a great conversation. Now, let's move beyond just asking questions and talk about the art of listening. Active listening is your superpower in any conversation. When someone is talking, don't just wait for your turn to speak. Genuinely listen to what they're saying. Pick up on keywords and details. For example, if they mention they went to a concert, instead of just saying "cool," you can ask, "Oh, nice. Who did you see?" Or, "I love live music. What was the venue like?" This shows you're engaged and interested, which encourages them to share more. Nodding, maintaining eye contact, and giving small verbal cues like "hong" or "I see" also signal that you're paying attention. Active listening makes the other person feel valued and heard, which is the foundation of any meaningful connection. Let's not forget about body language. How you sit and present yourself can say more than your words. To appear open and friendly, avoid crossing your arms, which can seem defensive. Instead, lean in slightly to show you're engaged in the conversation. Make sure to offer a warm smile. A genuine smile is incredibly inviting and can instantly put people at ease. Also, be mindful of your phone. Keeping it out of sight shows respect for the person you're with. If you're constantly glancing at your screen, it sends a clear message that you're not fully present. Your nonverbal cues are just as important as your verbal ones. So make sure your body language is saying, "I'm happy to be here, talking with you." Humor, when used correctly, can be a fantastic tool to lighten the mood and make the conversation more enjoyable. You don't need to be a professional comedian, but a little lightheartedness goes a long way. Sharing a funny, relatable story about your morning commute or a harmless observation can get a laugh and break down barriers. For example, you could say something like, "I think my coffee is the only thing holding my brain together today." It's relatable and shows you don't take yourself too seriously. The key is to keep the humor positive and inclusive. Avoid sarcasm that could be misunderstood and never make jokes at someone else's expense. The goal is to share a laugh together, creating a positive and memorable interaction. What happens if the conversation hits a lull? Don't panic. It's perfectly normal. This is a great time to use a follow-up question based on something they mentioned earlier. You could say, "So, you mentioned you're into photography. Have you taken any interesting photos recently?" This shows you we're listening and helps to reignite the chat. Another technique is to bring the conversation back to a shared experience. You might say, "Speaking of deadlines, that reminds me of that team event we had last month. That was a lot of fun, wasn't it?" Tying back to a positive shared memory can easily get the conversation flowing again. Remember, a moment of silence isn't a failure. It's just a chance to steer the conversation in a new, interesting direction. Finally, knowing how to gracefully end a conversation is just as important as starting one. As lunch break winds down, you'll want to wrap things up on a positive note. You can look at the time and say something like, "Well, I should probably get back to it, but it was really great chatting with you." This is a clear and polite way to signal the end. You can also add a forward-looking statement like, "Let's do this again sometime," or "Enjoy the rest of your afternoon." These simple closing phrases leave a lasting positive impression and make it easier to connect again in the future. It reinforces the friendly rapport you've just built and ends the interaction smoothly without any awkwardness. So, let's do a quick recap. Start by talking about the food, then move to light, positive work topics or weekend plans. Be an active listener, pay attention to your body language, and use a little humor. And when it's time to go, end the conversation gracefully. These aren't complicated rules. They are simple tools to help you build connections. Small talk is a skill, and like any skill, it gets better with practice. So, the next time you're having lunch, I challenge you to try just one of these tips. Start small. Ask someone what they're eating or what their weekend plans are. You might be surprised at how a simple sentence can lead to a great conversation and a new friend. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope these tips help you master your next lunch break conversation. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more tips on communication and connection. Let me know in the comments which phrase you're excited to try out first. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.